Hello everyone, you are welcome once again and I'm very happy to see you. Okay, so in this video we are going to look at variables in Java. Right? It's going to be one of the best lesson. So let's go on. So variables are containers used to store data values. Okay, I'm repeating it again. I'm saying that variables serve as what containers used to store data values. Are you getting it? So this means that variables serve as what containers where we can store what data values. And one thing that you need to know about variables is that before you can create a variable, you need something we call what type, right? Or data type, right? Because the type is going to tell you the kind of data that you are going to store in that container. I hope this makes sense, right? So the type is going to tell you that, oh, okay, you can store characters in this containers. Okay, and when you do it like that, the compiler or the machine or the IDE that you are using is not going to complain. But if let's say that you have specified that you are trying to store characters in this container but you store numbers, then it's going to complain. Okay, so this type, we also have a lesson for that. But you need to know that before you can create a variable, you need to specify the type so that the container or the machine will know that, oh, okay, this kind of bus or this kind of container can only store characters, right? And every container that you are going to create, you need to specify the type of data that container can store, right? So let's take this scenario. Let's say that I have a money box, right? And in this money box, we all know that a money box, we put money inside it. But inside my money box, I've also put my watches, right? So you can see that this is not a money box, because we said that this box is this container contains only money. If the box contains only money, then it means that I should put only money inside that container. If I try to put something else, then if I'm using an IDE, it's going to complain. Are you getting it? So this means that every variable that you are going to create need a specific kind of type or data type, right? And for you to create a variable, it's quite very simple. For you to create a variable, it's quite very simple. I've already said that you need a type. So the first thing that you need to do is to bring out the type that you are going to use. Then after that, you will now bring the variable name, right? The variable name. Okay, and then you will bring the assignment operator. We'll talk about these things, right? Then after that, I can now bring in the value, right? So this is how we create a variable. This is how we create a variable. And then the next step is the terminator. You need to terminate it, right? So now this is how we create a variable, right? So you need to specify the type of data this container that we are trying to create can take, right? If I'm trying to store numbers, it means that this container can only contain numbers. So for example, if let's say that I have the type of numbers, right? I have the type of numbers or number, right? And now I have my variable name as num, right? Num can be my variable name, and then I have it like this, so I can only store numbers. If I try to also store, right, let's say that a name like Miracle, okay, like Miracle, then the IDE itself is going to complain, right? Because I've already specified that this container over here can only store numbers. Okay, so this means that it's not going to give me the permission to store Miracle. Are you getting it? So that's how container is, or that's how variables are. Anytime you want to specify a variable, that variable should go with the kind of data that you are trying to store. If I'm trying to do an example for you, let's say that I want to store an integer numbers, right? If I want to store an integer numbers, then I need to use the type called int, right? And then I can now specify num1, and then I can store, let's say that 2 or 1 like this. So this means that this container over here, the container, the num1 becomes the container name. Are you getting it? It becomes the container name. That's what we refer to as the identifier. Okay, it becomes the container the container name. So if this one becomes the container name and I'm trying to store 1 inside it, this means that this container can only store numbers. If I change this, right, if I change it to, let's say that a string, you can see that it's now complaining. I hate seeing it. So now if I try to store Miracle again inside this container, it's complaining. You can see the red line, right? It means that this integer over here cannot store cannot store string, right? Yes, so every container that you are going to specify need a type, and if you use integer, it means that you need to go in for numbers, right? Either negative numbers, right, or positive numbers. Then this one is going to work. But if you specify an integer and you are trying to store a string inside it, then the IDE is going to complain. I hope this makes sense to you. In our next video, dive into variable itself and look at how we can create multiple variables and all those kind of things. I hope I will see you there. Bye.